So,
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of
It's About Time.
Anyways, I'm gonna let Drew get into a little bit of business, because you guys have been kind of dying to know something for the past week.
Yes, is the last episode we did. If you do recall, I had my brand new Ball Trainmaster Worldtimer with me. And Tracy just confirmed you can see that in the camera.
yep, I can
Okay.
see it.
And we just confirmed that, yes, I now know how to work the Worldtimer on this, thanks to Jared. And let me just go through a quick little review on that with you. As you can tell, right now it is about 9 o'clock. Okay? The way Worldtimers work is you have to set it to where you currently are. So we're in the New York time zone. As you can see, it's 9 o'clock at New York. However, if you're going to go to London, London's right about here. So it is about 2 o'clock in the morning in London. And it's about 4 o'clock in Cairo, and so forth. These numbers represent where it is right now. So this is the hour that it's at. So whatever number is next to the country, that's the number of hours.
Use the military time.
The military time,
24-hour
yes,
bezel.
because there are 24 time zones in the world,
Trivia.
and that's what makes the Worldtimer so unique and functional. Because if you are traveling, you can set it to where you're going, and you'll know what time it is there, and you'll know what time it is back home.
And is it a quick set or no?
Yes, this is a quick set watch.
Which
So
is
you do have the day, the date, the Worldtimer, and you also have the loom, which is the tritium tubes, which we'll get into right now. The report card on this watch is as follows. Again, here is the watch, people. And let's get to the report card, because that is the most important part of this. I told you I would let you know if I was going to keep it or ditch it at the end of this episode. So let's see what we're going to do here. The report card, yes. Is it water resistant? Yes, it is 5 ATM. It does pass that test. We just talked about the functionality, the day, date, Worldtimer, all consider multifunctional watch. So yes, it does pass that test. Comfortability, it does have the railroad links, doesn't pull hair off your arm. Very comfortable, does pass that test. Luminescence, guys, this is what I learned. Okay, in my last episode, you just saw that it didn't really light up in the dark when I first got it. Okay, here's what I learned about tritium tubes. The more light you put on it over a prolonged period of time, the light never fades with tritium tubes. It's the same, literally, it doesn't glow as bright as super luminova.
Can I interject with something?
Yes.
Do you know how long tritium tubes are supposed to last before they need to be replaced?
About 20, 30 years?
25.
Yeah, it's between 20 and 30 years.
25.
So basically, yes, that's the great part about tritium tubes. They keep going and going and going and going. However, I'm sure they will fade in time if you don't put light to them for a certain period of time. But when you put the light back towards it for a prolonged period of time, it is just as light when I go to bed at midnight and when I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It does not fade at all. Luminescence will. So it does pass that test. That's the interesting part that I wasn't able to show you last episode. It does fail the scratch resistant test. It's stainless steel. You can theoretically drop this on the floor like I did before with it and basically scratch it. Thank God my shoe caught
And
it.
then send it to surgery.
That's correct. That's how watchmakers make money. So it does fail that test. Is it a work piece? Absolutely. It's a great work piece, especially if you're traveling. If your work is travel, it's great because the whole time, if you're a pilot, absolutely. So yes, it is a great work piece as well. And it can withstand a lot of shock resistant because Ball is known for that. Is it easy to fix? Yes, absolutely. On the back of this watch, you will see the case back over here, okay? And you'll see 8 screws. You unscrew those 8 screws, pop off the back, and you can regulate the watch very easily to the time. But right now, it's running perfectly.
Not that you would want it because it is a chronometer.
It is a chronometer.
What does a chronometer mean?
Chronometer means it's a +4 -6 ratio per day.
-4 plus.
Whatever, it's the same thing. Just a little bit different.
It's a little different.
Yeah, a little different. So it does have those standards. That's what it's going to be per day. Right now, after we're going on day number 6, it's a ½ second slow. That's phenomenal. Total, not per day. It's a ½ second slow total. I've never seen a watch.
Wow, that runs terrible.
Yeah, I know. Got to return that thing. So, is it a dress piece? No, it's really not. It's a great looking piece, but most people would not wear this to a wedding. I would wear something that was like a Rolex or a Concorde or something like that. That was meant for a formal occasion. This is meant as more of a work piece.
Okay.
And is it a sports piece? No, it's not quartz. So you can't screw up the movement if you're going golfing and you swing it 150
I have
miles
a
an hour.
question.
Yes.
What's your favorite function on the watch?
I do like the Worldtimer of it because it is something that my other watches cannot give me outside of the JLC. So,
So the Bulgari is just a GMT, right?
yeah, it's not a Worldtimer, it's just a GMT. So it's really cool.
Which one do you like more, the JLC or this one?
Oh, I still like the JLC a little bit more right now, but I haven't had this one in a long time. So it ranks number 6 on my list of top 20 right now. My JLC is number 2. We'll see which one falls, which one rises as time goes on. So it is not a sports piece. It fails that test. It is an everyday piece. We just went through all the reasons why it is an everyday piece. So 7 out of 10. And my verdict is...
You're probably going to return it.
Yeah, no. This one's staying in my collection. And you'll be seeing it a lot more often. Okay. So, talking about accuracy, like I said, it's only a half second slow after 5 days. And, what's really interesting that most people don't realize is tonight's topic of, hey, does my watch run slower or faster based on how it's placed?
And without opening it, can I regulate it myself?
Is there a way to do it?
There is technically. Okay? Now, I'm going to ask Drew a trivia question. If you were to take your watch off at night, which I know you don't do, you sleep with your watch on.
That's correct.
But if you were to take your watch off at night, what position would you want to leave it in overnight? Ideally, I'll add that word in because there's a right answer to this.
I'm going to say, for some reason, I think you would want to leave it on its side. Now,
try again.
Maybe face up or face down.
Which one? You have a 50-50 chance.
I'm going to go with face down. Yeah, okay. So, which is perfect because it can only leave one possible answer. Face up.
Do you know why?
No, you're going to tell me though.
I am. So,
that's why we're doing this episode.
Watches are regulated usually, whether it's chronometers or anything else. I mean, they go through stringent tests, which we are going to get into another episode. And there are crazy tests. It may be one of our longest episodes we've done yet. So watches are usually tested and timed with the cases. It's called dial up. That's, they're putting winders and things like that, but when they're really regulated in different positions...
You'll see Tornado does this a lot.
That's the biggest thing, is that they always... Because now, that's the position where gravity has the least factor in.
Yep. Where
the balance wheel is the most steady and stable.
Correct.
There's no other forces acting on it.
Yep.
There's really... Everything is kind of at its...
optimal
it's like when you're asleep. And the watch it's moving, but it's at rest. It's able to, the oils all stay even with it because it's level. They're not, going to one side of the watch and just staying there and things like that. So kind of makes, the rotor is nicely even balanced as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes, a little bit of sense.
It does.
Listen, again, the more positions that a watch is in during the day, usually the less accurate or the more... deviation, I should say, it shows.
Now, if somebody wanted to make their watch run slower, what position would they have?
Slower. Okay. Now, are you saying a little bit slower or a lot more slower?
Let's say a lot slower.
A lot slower. So, according to Rolex, this was a little while ago, but this is kind of like a general disclaimer on this. I personally don't think that this always works.
Okay.
But it's just, I guess, suggestions. So you said much slower.
Correct.
Okay? So to lose rather more seconds, can you please take off your watch? Thank you. You lay the watch vertically. Meaning this way or this way, whatever it is. With the winding button, which would be the crown winding button, uppermost. Exhibit A.
Interesting.
So if you want to lose the most amount of time, theoretically, this is how you leave the watch.
Interesting.
Any other questions for me?
If I wanted to speed it up.
So gain a little bit. Okay. So you're supposed to lay the watch flat with the dial uppermost.
So that's the regular position that you were just talking about.
Correct. That's why I'm saying disclaimer.
Interesting.
Very interesting. And if you want to lose just a couple little seconds, you lay the watch vertically with the winding button downmost.
And the reason for that? Just for the test show?
Again, I really don't know. This is actually based off of, if you guys go online, and you search, it's in, how do you position your watch overnight? If you Google that, and then I guess the Rolex form comes up. And, people have different opinions and different answers on it. Some people leave it in whatever position, fine. But this is just what Rolex recommends. I think, again, it also does all depend on how the little needle is positioned in
That is
the watch.
true. How it's regulated.
Because if it's obviously to the slow side, chances are it's not really going to be gaining time.
No.
If it's in the middle, it could gain time, or
you
it
have
could
your
lose
most
time.
deviation.
Correct. But yeah, so those are the three positions. Apparently gain the most time, but also the most stable. It really doesn't make a ton of sense. To lose, let's say, to lose just a few seconds, and to lose the most amount of seconds. I believe that was, let me just make sure, with the winding, no, I'm sorry. To lose the most amount of time, to lose the least amount of time. I guess do I believe it personally? I have mixed feelings.
It's an interesting theory.
But you know what though? It's something for you guys to try if you want. Look it up.
Let us know.
But yeah, kind of. That's kind of it. Now, tell us about what you do with your watch, because he's unique.
What I do with my watch?
Yeah.
In terms of regulating it?
Well, no. I mean, how many hours a day do you wear your watch?
24 hours.
24 hours a day. Interesting. So you wear it in the shower?
I do. Well, the ones that are meant for the shower.
You wear it to go to sleep?
Yes. I do not wear it for sports.
Okay.
Unless there's only one watch I will wear for sports. You've seen it. It's my Rado Ceramica. Only because it's quartz and it's durable.
Interesting.
And it's light.
Okay.
And it won't get damaged. Because him and I play a lot of golf.
But in general, you don't take a watch off.
No. No, and there's two theories of thought on that. Some people say, oh, that's terrible. You have to give it a rest or you have to put it down. Other people are like, no, the watch gets to know you as you get to know the watch. The watch knows how, and it is true that watches will run different speeds on different people's wrists because of how people move them, based on their movements and based on how they wind them up in general. Just by their natural
I was
movement.
going to say, I think it depends on how much they're moving during the day. It depends on what kind of position. Again,
it is true.
It's almost evidenced by this a little bit that if you have your watch in a certain position, that's why chronometers and other high-end watches are adjusted to, they say 5 different positions
Right.
or 6 different positions. Because let's say you leave your hand like this all day, it's going to run a little differently than if you leave your hand like this.
That's true.
Or if you leave your hand like this.
And we know nobody does that. So it's a mixture of all different positions, which gives it an average time.
Isn't there a saying your wrist is the natural tourbillon?
Yes, it really is. And
What is a tourbillon? Well, we're not going to get into that.
That's a different episode.
I think we already did that, didn't we?
Yes.
Maybe not.
But to wrap this one up, Jared, do you have any big announcements for us?
Do I have any big announcements?
Yes.
You'll see a couple unboxings very soon. You'll see a review of A Man and His Watch book. I'm not sure if it's even available. Last time I got it, it was completely sold out. I don't know if it became available. And let's see.
Later on this year, we are going back to Atlantic City in April. And in May, we're going to be going up to Niagara Falls and up into Toronto.
Oh, I'm going down to one watch.
Well, that's a big shock.
Yep. I've never done that before in my life, and I'm going to go down to one watch, and that's it.
You know what? I'm going down to one watch too, plus 29. So, I can't. But outside of that, I have too much invested in my little children. Outside of that,
Children are expensive.
they are expensive.
A little bit of a
They
thing
grow up, I swear to God.
Oh, JLC.
JLC,
Oh, Rolex.
Oh, those little bastards.
But you love them.
I have to keep fixing those little mothers. Anyway, guys,
Would you like me to send you the bill?
Please like us. Please subscribe to our videos.
Tell us what
Tell us what-
positions you leave your watching overnight for extended periods of time. Do you wear it all the day too, like he does, and all night, or do you take it off? And what position do you leave it in?
Yeah, send us your results of these tests as well.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next time on another episode of
It's About Time.